Hi guys, we are in Silver Lake, and we found this really noisy garage here, and I think we can find some person in there doing some interesting guitar stuff, so tag along. Hello!
Hi Olaf, how's it going?
How are you doing?
Oh, you know, just finding that sick guitar tone we all love.
This is Matthew. He used to play guitar in Skinny Puppy.
Skinny Puppy. I have lots and lots of Skinny Puppy merch, you know, free merch. So if you want to find me, I'm basically wearing merchandise.
Free clothing is a perk of playing in bands.
Huge perk, huge perk. I'm gonna wear this for 10 years. It'll be great.
So anyways, I met you the first time in at the NAMM show in Anaheim. We had
Sylvia Massey.
Sylvia Massey was a thing we had in common.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was cool. We met up, recognized each other a little bit, and to be honest,
well, that's right, because you were making those ribbon microphones,
exactly.
right? Those homemade ribbon microphones, and like halfway through your conversation with me, I was like, "Are you the guy from Sweden that's making ribbon microphones?" It's like, "Oh yeah." It's like, dude, I've seen all your videos. Wow, that's super random.
Yeah, and I was obviously a huge fan of Skinny Puppy.
Yeah.
To be honest, ever since I met you the first time, I had this thing in the back of my mind that I wanted to visit you, and you giving like a rundown of your style of playing guitar, because as far as I understand, it's kind of different.
Yeah, I'm definitely not like a traditional guitar player thing, and you know, I'm not like a thrasher. I'm not, you know, really technical, but I'm definitely like a sound guy, like a weird sound guy. And it seemed the more I just leaned into that, like the better it got for me. So
we're gonna do a rundown, and Matthew is gonna just talk us through what he's doing and how he creates noise and music.
Yeah, one and the same.
Cool.
Well, I guess we'll start with the instrument itself. When I first moved to LA 20 years ago, I took these night classes. With big shout out to my friend Lance Alonso. He's the guy who taught me how to build guitars through Guitarcraft Academy, and he's still a luthier now. But this was the first guitar I ever made. It's Les Paul.
That's the first guitar.
This is the first guitar I ever made. This is like my project guitar in school. It's got a single piece high quilt maple top.
Yeah.
You know, mahogany, and it's got a completely illegal headstock because it's got the open book. The open book Gibson headstock, but it's kind of slanted off to the side.
Yeah,
so the way I designed is that the D string is what they call straight string pull over the nut, and then the rest of it kind of smears over. It's illegal if I sold it, but I've never sold one of these, so this is my thing. It's got a Graphtec Ghost Hexpander pickup on it. So these are piezo pickups. Like you can, I'll get to that. Like you can. Like it's very much an analog, you know, acoustic pickup. And I've got 3 outputs on the thing. I've got like the 13-pin MIDI output, and then this is the piezo output only, and then this is the magnetic output. Okay. And the piezo output also comes out of the MIDI cable.
Okay, so there's
like
2 different options.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you really just wanted to isolate that one, but I'm getting all 3 pickups out of this thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a crazy, you know, that's like the starter. And then this is my old pouch for putting my wireless unit in, and then I put my in-ears right here, so everything is like, I actually do everything, I do all my live mixing and everything like happens on the guitar itself, and that's sort of been my approach. And here's like my other main guitar. I made this when I was working at Moser Custom Shop. I was his luthier for a while, and I just made this out of like spare parts. This is like the main guitar that I've just done everything with. This is my old band Ooze.
Is that the same headstock idea? That D-string?
Yeah, it's the same headstock. Yeah. This is when my first European tour, the Russians broke my headstock in shipping or at the airport, and I had to fix it on tour. Those are toothpicks in there.
That's a good band name. The Russians broke my headstock.
Yeah, the Russians broke my headstock. Yeah, good times. That was with A London After Midnight a million years ago.
That's cool.
Anyway, this is like,
that looks a bit more post-apocalyptic.
Oh yeah, for sure. Here's some nipple tape I was wearing that I sweat off during a show, and just sort of like, this guitar has stories, man. I love this thing. Anyway, these are my 2 guys. So I can start with the guitar, and then let's just talk about routing. My main amp is the Kemper right here. I have an endorsement with these guys.
Yeah.
and I am super happy with this amp. This has really fundamentally changed the way that I really play guitar, because it's got so many sounds in it. It's got all the effects and everything in it that I when I'm recording and trying to make music with a band, I usually like record something dry or loop record it in here, and then I just audition like 1,000 sounds until you don't have to EQ it, you don't have to compress it, you don't have to do anything. It just sounds good with everything else that's going on, and then like that's the sound that you use. And this really gave me the ability to do that. Have you done any of your own profiling with it, or haven't profiled yet? No, haven't profiled yet. Yeah, my OG amp, it's in a box over there. Is I have an Angle Powerball, like a Generation 1 Angle, and that is like it's just a huge tube amp, and it's a real pain to tour with that thing. It's just too big, and it's a little bit too much. But it sounds like the end of the world, and I should really profile that thing. You could sell it. You haven't done it. I could sell it. I know. I could. I should think about it. So as far as like my routing live, this has XLR outputs on the back, and that always just goes straight to front of house. So that's like my main rig. Out of the back of this, there's a direct output. That's just a dry through output, and that's coming into the input of my JMP1. And I've had this for many years. When I lived up in Laurel Canyon, I got this mostly because I know that Robin Fink used to have one of these. I'm a huge Robin Fink fan. So it's like, hey, Robin Fink has a JMP1. I want the JMP1. And I got that on probably the Recycler or Craigslist for $300. It's like another piece of gear I'm just never going to get rid of. Is that, if I understand it correctly, it's like a digitally controlled analog amp, right? Yep, and it's got a tube. It's got a tube amp, and it doesn't have a power amp. I'm going through this little TC Electronic. It's just a preamp. And then I have a MIDI cable, just a regular old school 5-pin MIDI cable. My God, man, remember those? Yeah. I got one plugged in from here going into here. So when I did my deep programming for, boom, you can see that changes. Yeah. That changes. Go up to the next one. Boom, boom. Oh, that's nice. Just went to each one. Yeah. So, it's been a minute since Skinny Puppy's been on tour or played. Plugging all this stuff back in has been really like, holy shit, dude. What was I doing anyway? This is actually from like the very last tour we did. Yeah. We did 2 tours last year. The first tour, I actually had my modular rack coming off of this, and I could use this A/B switch to go MIDI out from the like the MIDI guitar. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I was actually going MIDI notes into my modular synth just for like the BRAP improv sections. It's like, I didn't set that up today. That was like too much. Continuing with the signal flow, I got this guy splitting off to like its own direct out, and then direct out from this, it's coming in here. It's being controlled via MIDI. This is slaved to this guy. And then this comes out just into my little mixer. It's pretty noisy, so I was going through this noise pedal sometimes. Not doing that today. Just run it noisy. So that's like the JMP1 sound, and then this is blended with the MIDI sounds coming out of here, and it's just the MIDI sounds are those like synthesizer stuff. Or? Yeah, it's just like old, crappy, cheesy synthesizer sounds. But the cool thing about crappy MIDI sounds is if you put it through a bunch of guitar pedals, and I mostly have Moleko stuff because I have a good relationship with. Big shout out to Josh Hawley and Paul Barker and the people at Moleko. They hooked me up with a bunch of these pedals, and like this MXR, that's my old pedal from like high school. Same thing with delay and the the jackhammer and stuff. Like, that's the problem with like gear as a musician. It's sort of like extended family members. You pull it out, it's like, oh, my Phase 90, man, haven't talked to you in a while. What's up? What have you been doing? Wow, this is what I'm doing. Hey, good to see you again. It's like you just go insane with gear. So, I'll go through some examples here, but really I wanted to use the MIDI sounds with like, Guitar World, with like guitar pedals. And I was like, that's a cool sound, but then blending that with the Marshall tone and then the Kemper tone. So sort of like, it's a lot of blending. Like if I have an approach It's like get some weird sounds, but also back it up with just regular, big, thick, heavy guitar sounds, and then just like blend it to a point where you think it sounds good. And then, so that sort of buffers like how experimental and weird you're getting, because then you can get like really, really weird just knowing that it's like a support thing or like a tonal thing instead of just being like hung out on its own, because that's where things can get really like, it's just not musical at a point, or it doesn't fit into the band. You know, it's like I'm a guitar player in someone else's band, and it's a really weird band like Skinny Puppy. So it's like I can get creative and get really far out. It's like, okay, cool. Like I need to balance this with like the best of both worlds.
Can I one question?
Yeah, what's up?
The MIDI thing you have is that where you use the piezo microphones on the guitar to trigger sounds there, or how does that work?
Well, the guitar actually has it's got a computer chip inside of here.
Okay, so you have MIDI out.
Yeah, and it's just got digital ones and zeros MIDI out coming through this. You know, Roland has like a 13-pin MIDI cable. That's like the MIDI guitar standard, which is real stupid.
But how does the guitar pick up what notes to play? Is that via the...
Yeah, it's via the piezo pickups here. And then you can actually send different MIDI channels for each string if you wanted to. If you really wanted to.
That's what I was.
Yeah, if you really wanted to dive deep, you could do that. I'm not doing that. You can get these big fan out things and wow, I have enough cables. Thank you very much. So the MIDI sounds are being generated from like a MIDI signal coming here, and the acoustic piezo sound is coming into the Roland, and then going through all the guitar pedals, and then like back into the mixer, and then I'm just sending these out an aux send, this guy, and just going to a little TC Electronics bass amp, and coming to one of these speakers. So this speaker is the Kemper, this speaker is the bass amp. It's just, you know, everything else. And then live, I think I had these mic'd up also, and I had those going direct, and then with the Kemper direct, and I could just like mix and match everything, you know, monitoring on my in-ears. And that's another side note. It's like I was always monitoring my ears. I was also getting a front of house feed, so I could hear how Aaron Lisi, our sound guy, was like kind of EQing my guitar, because I use a lot of low end information here, but he has to cut that out for, you know, to use the front of the house, because there's just like so much low end information in like the Skinny Puppy songs that I can't step on that. But if you have a lot of low information, it does change the way it sounds on the higher end. So I was like kind of A-being with both, you know. And also I have toured a lot without any kind of speaker at all, and it's really nice having a little sound on stage, especially especially if you're trying to get like feedback. You know, you're supposed to like, you hold it on there so it just like gets like a feedback system. And having it up high and just blasting me in the face was like perfect. You know, it's kind of a weird guitar rig, but man, I've had a lot of guitar rigs over the year, and this was definitely my favorite. Well, I guess we should get into some of the sounds, right?
Yep. Okay.
So if you look here, I've got everything programmed into the Kemper. Like here's the set list. You know, VX Gas Attack, Immortal, Rodent, Warning, Tormentor, Love in Vain, Human Disease, Heart Set Head, Petafly. Oh, Petafly was a lot of fun. Oh my god. Morpheus Laughing, The Choke, obviously Warlock, Inquisition, Dig It, you know, Assimilate. These are the different encores that we had programmed in. You know, Smothered Hope, I'm sure you've tested your Deep Down Trauma Hounds. That's what I got. And then I've got all these like backed up somewhere also. Somewhere. Like on Dropbox, I hope, in case my stuff gets stolen. Okay, so if I turn on the A/B switch, so this is just the like you can hear that sort of popping sound. Yeah. Those are just the like acoustic pickups, like the piezos inside there. I'm in drop D, right? And you know, just that's cool. Then if I come here, so there's your, you know, there's a, you know. Like, okay, well, let's. Okay, that's cool. Now that's starting to sound like pretty... And that's kind of it. I would just sit here like forever and like go through the songs and just like figure out... Get my presets on the JMP1 and the Kemper, program in my presets, and then just like, you know... Here's one of the MIDI sounds I used a lot was this sampled slap bass. Yeah. That sound sounded really good, like doubled with a bunch of stuff. So everything's off. Here's the Kemper sound. Let me go to VX Gas Attack. Here's the dulcimer hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just wanted that like real pop, like... I'm noisy today, it's fine. Like just the... Yeah, like... You got any questions? And then just like dive deep into the pedals, you know, like the Ass Master, the molecular Ass Master. That thing is dangerous, man. Like this thing is dangerous. The Scrutinator, this is awesome. The Downer, I don't know, man. You could just spend like years just like diving into this stuff.
So what is the most fucked up sound you would use?
God. You know, it's been like over a year since I've like...
Work hard now.
Yeah, right. Love in Vain, Human Disease. Oh, I had some weird sounds in Human Disease. Whew, that is
disgusting.
That is the JMP1 all the way.
The MIDI, the synthesizer also going through pedals and stuff?
Yeah, it's the only thing that's going through.
Okay.
And the I guess the piezo outputs are going through the pedals also. But the synthesizer is the only thing that I'm really pushing through the pedals.
Cool.
I guess the cool sound I was using was on Warlock. My God, this is all like starting to come back to me. Let's see here. Then I probably had turn that off. That probably had like a string pad. Probably something like that.
That is real nice.
Oh yeah. And that really makes it sound like a synth. You know? That's a pitch down with a delay into an arpeggiator, all on the Kemper. That's only the Kemper. Like, that's just an organ, you know.
That's really cool.
That's what I got, man. But like with that,
have you ever like played guitar in a traditional way, or have you always been into this more experimental stuff?
No, I've definitely done like more traditional stuff. Like with my opera singer band, Timor and the Dime Museum, we've been through several iterations, and for a while it was just strictly acoustic band, so I was just playing acoustic guitar, and like that's fine. One approach I really like is taking one style of music, the technique from that style, and putting it into a different like genre of music, like using the slide guitar with an ebow at the same time, so it sort of sounds like a big glissando on a synthesizer, which is more of like a kind of a country western thing, using a slide, but doing it in like an industrial project is like, oh, that's a different sound, and everybody borrows from somebody. Same thing with like using like my fingers a lot. I don't use my I don't use a pick all the time. I use my fingers a lot, and I can just. And like that seems to like help, especially if you got like a.
But with a finger playing, are you like when you play acoustic guitar, are you more like into classic guitar then, or?
Yeah, I do like classical guitar. Can't say I'm very good at it, Like I just can't grill these nails, Like they're always short. But I really like flamenco, and I really like classical technique, and like that they.
I think that's it's a very good philosophy, and also a good tip for other people to incorporate different styles into where it's not supposed to be. It's like,
and it's like, what do you want to do? Play the same thing forever? It's like, why is Skinny Puppy such a cool band? It's because they really mixed this weird mix of like different sounds. Like when I first got into the band and started hanging out with those guys, I had to learn a lot about different influences where this was coming from, and like a lot of it is like very kind of psychedelic rock, and a lot of it is just they really embrace technology, like the old samplers that they used to use, and like they would like chop up guitar samples, and also just like weird sounds from all over the place. And so it's like you just sort of had to think differently. This isn't like a real traditional. It's not like a jazz band or like a black metal band where it's sort of like, this is the gig, like go to the gig. It's like, no, this is like something different, and somehow Skinny Puppy like pokes through the noise and made a name for themselves. And so just being a part of that, I had to like just embrace and lean in on just like approaching it differently. Because if I was just like a normal guitar player, okay, I'll tell you, when I got the job, when they offered me the job to be their guitar player, I had gone on tour as their stage manager. I got hired to do that. did a tour with them, and then they decided to add a guitar player again. They hadn't had a guitar player in a really long time. And when they approached me, they said, hey, we want you to play guitar for us. If you say no, we're not adding a guitar player. Like, it has to be you or like nobody else. Like, I've never auditioned to be in a band, you know, as far as like, you have to know people, you have to make personal connections, you have to work really hard, put yourself out there. But, you know, I've always gotten a phone call. My whole career has just been from my network and getting a phone call. And I think that I'd really like proven myself with them to sort of like, I could mesh in with their kind of weirdness. It's like, okay, because they didn't want a traditional guitar player. Like, that wouldn't have worked. Like, wouldn't get the gig, you know? And then like doing the opera stuff or like the other bands that I play in, it sort of makes me look a little more versatile. If I've got someone like Skinny Puppy in my back pocket, it's like, oh, here's this guy that can, you know, do a more traditional band thing, but he can also do this. It's like, okay, so I guess it's worked well for me because it's like, this is the guy that, you know, you can work with or like throw weird ideas at.
That's some really good golden nuggets there for any aspiring people.
You know, I'm from Montana originally, and people up there will ask me, it's like, oh, like, hey, you know, I got my band, like what should I do? Or, you know, it's like really, it's like, I'm not any better than anybody. It's just like, you make your own luck. You know, you gotta take it seriously. And like, I moved to Los Angeles. Like, I moved here, I didn't know anybody. The day I moved to Los Angeles, I had 2 tickets to see Nine Inch Nails at the Hollywood Bowl, and I had to sell one because I literally didn't know a single person in town. So I sold a ticket outside and went inside and watched the show. You know, it's like, that's how I started.
It's a good start.
It was a great start, yeah.
Downward spiral.
Yeah, and the rest of that has just been down. It's like, oh, what happened, man?
Thank you so much for showing all this stuff.